Islam, we're here. So let's rise and Islam, Moors, let's rise and do our honors. Good to go? We're just gonna rise, do our honors, and read our letters to be read and everything. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe. Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, for Holy Prophet, Noble Ali. Islam, Moors. Let's go. Let's go. We're out here. Letters to be read at every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet to the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Ali. Islam. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now, by the same people of our side of the nation that claimed that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you would be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is not on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Ali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they will be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but would sacrifice your every life, the utmost of your very life, to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Ali. Islam. Islam. We're all here. Welcome to the Atlantis version of the tour. Thank you. We're gonna go through mainly some Amos Wilson today, but there's a couple other things we'll just touch on before that. And if there's any questions or any comments, feel free to let Will reign. This is I was reading this every morning since I was up here. Life is a Joke, 100 Life Lessons with Punchlines by the Javna brothers. Did you hear the one about the man who was convinced he was dead? It's a classic. And like the other 99 other jokes in this book, you'll delight in reading and even more in the telling. There is also the one about Einstein and his chauffeur, the woman who went on vacation and left her pet cat with her sister, the farmer with the three-legged pig. But when the laughter settles, something else happens. In the masterful hands of the Javna brothers, each joke reveals insights into human behavior and tips for putting that insight into action that you'll want to share as readily as the jokes themselves. It's the wit and the wisdom of the jokes in that order. So all the jokes have like a quote at the beginning of it. So we're just gonna read some of the quotes. Efficiency report. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Brain freeze. Oh, that was Peter F. Drucker. Brain freeze. If you panic, that is a good way to lose. You have to stay in control. Ted Turner. The old sandbag trick. What I say is misdirection. What you see is an illusion. Amit Kalantri. Piece of cake. Tell me what you brag about, and I'll tell you what you lack. Spanish proverb. Fast friends. If you lend a friend $5 and never see him again, it was worth it. In too deep. The human brain is a complex organ with the wonderful power of enabling man to find reasons for continuing to believe, whether it is that he wants to believe. Back to the front. Be kind to unkind people. They need it the most. Ashley Brilliant. Don't get bugged. There are no rules here. We're trying to accomplish something. Thomas Edison. Scared straight. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Marie Curie. Dumb and Dumber. First learn the meaning of what you say, then speak. Epictetus. Thanks, but no thanks. I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is ending up with people who make you feel alone. Robin Williams. You may already be a winner. If I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard, because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Dorothy. Reach out. Let wise men be wise by instinct if they can, but when this fails, be wise by good advice. So again, that was Life is a Joke, 100 Life Lessons with Punchlines. So I was was when we did the Maryland lecture. We did the Maryland lecture. We were looking at Francis Cress Welsing, ISIS papers. So in going through that book, there was so much that came out of that relative to the Moorish paradigm. So I started wanting to go through all these different psychological so-called Black scholars to see where they're at with regard to, the Moorish paradigm. And I don't know if it's some coded thing amongst them because of the whole thing of once you start bringing up the Moors, then, people go blank. People don't want to hear that. So they spoke in the terms of, how our people are going to understand. But the message is directly related to what it is that the Moors been telling people. Well, either these people were studying Noble Drew Ali before, they knew somebody who was in it, or whatever. So we're gonna go into this book, African-Centered Consciousness versus the New World Order, Garveyism in the Age of Globalism, Amos Wilson. And there's a chapter on Marcus Garvey called The Legacy of Marcus Garvey. And this is page 66. The True Nationalists. The restructuring of Garvey's legacy. Let us look again at the nationalist who is true to his cause, and let us test our nationalists by some of these criteria. The true nationalist is not obsessed with the past to the exclusion of the present. We have some nationalists whose heads are on backwards and they can only look to the distant past. They're so concerned with the past until they stumble over the present and cannot see what is coming in the future. So we're looking at all the different schools of thought that keep sending us back there and not dealing with. Right now, we're getting taxed to this. Right now, people getting murdered in the street. Right now, and we have a long list of stuff that's happening right now that nobody's addressing. But everybody could quickly play Sankofa and then do the bird with the head back, and then they're stuck in that realm of not applying anything from back there to now. Not the good, not the bad, not the indifferent, not anything. All they're doing is just looking back there. And then when you look at, like the Egyptologists and, certain schools of thought, they actually go back there and stay there. I don't know if it's a trap that they get caught in, but they can't take what's back there and bring it to now so that we can move forward for the future, right? Islam, these Moors. They grovel and revel in the great glories of the past to the absence of the future. One of the things I think you will see in Marcus Garvey's legacy is that while he raised the Asiatics past the great heights, projected that past and made it part of the consciousness of our people, there was a thorough concern with the present and the future. The true nationalist does not escape and hide through the glorification of the past that what must be done in the present and in the future. The bogus nationalist, however, rises and raises up the people, builds up false pride in the people in terms of past history, but he leaves them groping as to what must be done now. The true nationalist is intrepid. Not that the nationalist does not have fear, but he learns to operate in spite of fear. Fear does not paralyze him. He uses the fear as energy to move forward and confront his enemies. He does not hide his fear behind high-sounding phrases, high-sounding scholarship, and dredging up the past. He dredges up the past as means of integrating it into his personality, as a foundation for what his movement forward and his thrust into the future. And then when we look at Noble Drew Ali and him making reference to us being Moroccans, descendants of Moroccans, which is that going back to the past, and then we're Moorish Americans today, which is present, and then going into the future with what it is we were given in the past. He does not put forth a kind of pseudo game, as I see many nationalistic people putting forth, a sort of participate with the establishment, sort of arouse the revolutionary fervor of their audience, but when you stop to think about it, they have left you with no real tools and techniques for dealing with our current problems, and do not project the future and what it will be like. So going back to when we look at the current problems, when we read Noble Drew Ali's literature, we read Divine Warning, he's telling you all these problems are about to happen. Here's what you could do right now so that these problems don't happen. When we look at people say that they're whatever organization they're under, they're gonna say they're national whatever, right? They're a nation of something. But when you go into their activity, it's not on the side of national activity. It's no different than whatever else is going on, right? So there has to be yes, that inspiring of the people, but once that energy is picked up, then something has to be done with it. Or when we go into the next chapter, we're going to be dealing with the possession that comes off on our people once they don't go into these nationalistic protection modules, because there's energy that's coming from us being nationalists. Just like there's an energy from us saying that we're Negro, Black, colored, African, Indian, whatever. What we notice is that as far as the Moorish paradigm is concerned, there's always direction towards solution, right? If there's an issue, you can go study, you can talk to some other Moor, you could put on some more teaching, and Allah works in mysterious ways, and you'll get you'll push play and it's going to be right on the spot, or the book falls and then it opens up on the page that you need so you to get whatever it is that you need to get, right? So there's definitely an energy that's in this, right? The true nationalist is entrepreneurial. He's building something. He's constructing something. We see that in Garvey. Not just a concern with the past, not just an identification with Egypt and other African empires of the past, not just picking up little details upon little details of some African past, but of a sound movement forward in concrete, brick and mortar construction, a sound, hands-on, developing and actualization of African ideology and political development. He is one who thrusts his fear aside and moves forward, the true, and they say African nationalists, and then we just take all the African and Black whatever and just put Moorish there. And then this thing has a whole different meaning than what he actually meant with it, right? Just taking African out and put Moorish there changes up this whole thing. He not only respects his ethnic heritage and the glories of his ancestors, but he is equally, if not more, concerned with the inheritance he is going to pass on to his children, with the legacy he's going to give to his children. There are people who scrape their monies together Give it to the airlines, give it to the Arabs, jump out planes, bow, scrape, kiss the earth, just to salve in their own wounded egos. But when asked for 1,500 toward the feeding of our children, toward the educating of our children, toward the creating of jobs for our people, toward the gaining of our control over real estate, and the gaining of control over our wealth, somehow they're not able to make those sacrifices. Right? Part of our issues. We're going to support all the things for our destruction, and then the things for our liberation, we're tiptoeing and we don't want to deal with it, or maybe later or whatever. Right? All these sacrifices that have to be made should be made by everybody who's claiming. If crackhead makes a crackhead claim, they're going to be the best crackhead ever. They're gonna go over and beyond to get their piece of crack. They're gonna go everywhere. They're gonna sell whatever they got. They're gonna put everything on the line for this, and that's just piece of crack. Right? Look at nationality that same way. Let that be your drug. Let that be your vice that you can't let go of, and you can't do anything without. If nationality is that, our people would, all that energy they put to all that other stuff, we would be right where we should be again. Right? We have then a leadership who rallies the people to look at past glories, but leave their own children neglected, who will make great analytical and oratorical dissertations to the inadequacies of Eurocentric education, and yet will not contribute 1 penny of their monies and their time to the construction of their own schools, who year after year will spend millions and give it away to others, but will not give it to their young. That is pseudo-nationalism, ladies and gentlemen. So the pseudo-nationalism example again, you have Umar with the school. The school been supposed to be built by now, right? Pseudo-nationalism. Again, the organizations, groups claiming that they're a nation, right? But then when you speak with the individuals, they don't have a national mindset. They have a victim mindset. They have a traumatized mindset. They have every mindset except what they're claiming is where they're supposed to be, right? We see the true nationalists in the guise and person of Marcus Garvey, who not only complains about the nature of the education, but who does something about it. He builds the schools and universities and constructs and instructs as part of his nationalist mission. Look not only at the words, at the scholarship, at the dredging up of the past. Look at the fruits of the labors of your leaders. See what real and concrete comes from their words. The true nationalist is not obsessed about the destruction of his civilizations, about the cruelty of his fate and the devilishness of his enemies. Certainly, he analyzes that and looks at it. Certainly, he laments the destruction of civilizations and the fall of our empires and kingdoms and fall from grace to a degree. But he does not become traumatized by those falls and destruction. He does not become obsessed and compulsive about their analysis. He looks at them, he learns from them, he integrates them into his personality and ideology. He swears never again, and he moves forward using that knowledge to construct a new civilization. He looks at the mistakes of his ancestors, he looks at the mistakes of his past civilizations, and he integrates those mistakes into his personality. He then moves forward to build new civilizations, new worlds, found new empires, not just lament the ones past and gone. Right? So, for example, when we look at wherever it is that we go with the Moorish paradigm, there's always an element of Moors there who already have the knowledge. For whatever reason, they're not connected to it. So like when we walked in here, for example, we came in here, there was some people in here, they had something going on, and people, Islam, peace, and all that. And well, okay, so they know what's going on. There's a presence, or there's been a presence here. And everywhere that we go is this same theme that, you know, Moors are gonna get together, and then, you know, the job was done, because we brought Moors together from different territories. We got 5 hours, right? How far are you, Moors? About an hour and a half, some 40-minuters, hour and a bit. Yeah, right? So the ability for us to be together and get things done is there. It's just what we're going into next. The inability for us to keep that thing going. And where Amos Wilson's going with it is that once we abandon or don't deal with the nationalistic idea of things, then we get into being victims of something else. That's just automatically where it's gonna go, right? And this is going into the chapter African-centered consciousness, personality, and culture as instruments of power. Before we go into that, any questions or comments before we carry on?
Yeah.
Please, bro.
What specifically is the paradigm?
What is specifically the paradigm as far as where we should be at?
Right. When you're saying the Moorish paradigm, I know you get into it together.
Yeah.
But what specifically is that idea?
Well, you have the aspect of us not being in the status that we've been all our life. So when we look at things from a law perspective, we start to apply that all the time to everything. We're not going to leave that jurisdiction out. So one of the main ideas with Noble Drew Ali's message was that we're not Negro, black, colored, that we have a nationality. We shouldn't be identifying ourselves with these labels, because all these labels are slave brands. So we can have whatever emotional attachments to them, but the reality is that these identities are slave brands, and they put us in a certain status which allows us to, be in generational curses is one of our issues. Not being unified is one of our issues as far as our people. And if any Moors have anything else that comes to mind, just put it out there. Oh, go ahead, Moore.
Well, I hear a lot of chatter, and I've also met a lot of people that know that they're Moors. Is the thing that they really don't get is it's more about your divine, your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about civics. A lot of us was educated not to know proper real law civics. It's a difference between the law and it's a difference between what is legal. What is legal and the law are two different things. Mm-hmm. One, understanding who you are, understanding your birthrights does not equate to get out of a jail-free card in no shape, form, or fashion. Getting out of not paying taxes, want to claim mansions and all these things that you hear people are selling you. That's not what this is. You know, if we truly understand the civic side of our nation, we would truly know the difference. And for the most part, for me, it's hardening to see that undeclared Moors and declared Moors, they want the microwave. They want the microwave now. They want somebody to tell them. They want somebody to hold their hand instead of them just quieting your mind and go get the information because the information is there. You know, it's like shoveling through, what I've learned the term is shoveling through the avalanches of lies. Because everything that we were taught in school was a lie, right? And really understanding on the civic side, what is the Constitution for the United States of America? I didn't say the Constitution of the United States of America. I said the Constitution for the United States of America. All right, these are two different constitutions. One is from 1789, which is the organic one, and then you have the one from 1871, which is the not organic one. And then most people don't really, you ask the average person, how many articles are in the Constitution? How many Bill of Rights are there? And most of them don't know the answer, but if you sit down and you look at these things, you can see that there is a difference. And again, most of us want the microwave, they want the quick fix, and you can't grasp the validity of this thing, and it's something that you ain't gonna get overnight. I've been studying for 9 years and I ain't got it all, but I'm learning. I'm going to libraries, I'm getting books, I'm asking, where reference points are, and I go there and I study. And when you study these things, it's like you're peeling an onion. You go layer after layer where you're not even tearing up no more. The onion juice ain't bothering you. Yeah. Just look through the onion juice, and, no more tears. When you do that, you see very clearly, very clearly, and you hear things very clearly. And I just wanted to make.
There's a lot more.
Make
Thanks. There's a lot more. Go ahead.
I heard you spoke of the paradigm shift, so speak about Moorish paradigm.
Yeah.
Look at it more so. And coming back on what he said, it's a social and a cultural thing. So it starts home. Like for me, I have 5 children, when we have 5 children. So it starts with a molding of the mind from home, like I said, Amos educated. Most people already agree on that. But what we're gonna do about it as the people, and it starts in the house first. Our children have to get these messages through how we live, demonstration. The Rosses have something they call live-utility. So living it, it's a livelihood. It's not what we just go learn about or what we speak about. Yeah. You have to live it. So for me and my children, there's certain practices, just like in a Christian household. There's certain things that you practice every week. If that's going to Sunday school, if they're going to Bible study, or any amount of things that we do at home with our children. Instead of just the tablet playing and the whole thing, let's give them our culture that we know about and we learn about. So I can study all day. But if I don't practice it with my wife, if I don't demonstrate it with my children, it's kind of falling on dead hands because it's just me. And then when I go out, they're not walking in my shoes because I'm not practicing at home. But now if I step out and they're doing that at home, and we're practicing it at home, now the world sees it. Now the world participates, which is a demonstration for us to do what we do as a cultural people. So one more example, black culture. What comes to mind when you think of black culture is the negative music. It's the negative things that we do to each other. It's the competition, crab in the barrel that they speak about. We the ones control that boiling water. We the ones control our environment. It's only us that allow other people to control our environment, just like with education.
Right.
We know they're miseducated at that school, so what we're gonna do when they come home? They let them play. You know, you can take 15, 20 minutes and give them a lesson that we know about, a lesson from our culture, to kind of counter that miseducation. And I will throw that.
Islam, Morris. Anybody else? Good.
Well, I would say this, teach you more about how to be yourself, like doing what you truly are, so that you can basically take the power into your own. Power is illusive, but the power that you have is, from what you know. You can only be what you know, so it's just learning more about what's really going on in the world, who you are in the world, and applying it. It's just more applicable. A lot of things that we deal with is not applicable to your life. You can't really do nothing about it, something you learn. It's like something more that you can apply, and more that you apply in the unit. It works out for everybody in the unit. Just to speak on that matter, but it's basically about learning yourself and knowing that you can manifest your own destiny, like not putting that power in no one else's hands but yours. And then the more you practice it, you start to see these things.
Seeing it real time.
It kind of, I wouldn't say forces you, but it forces you to make changes. You start to auto-correct things you know not to do. You don't do them. Nobody don't have to tell you. It's self-governance.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I see it has layers. I mean, it's family life, social, and everything like that. And that's why I was curious, because I mean, I see like the foundation comes from like the religious side, building the foundation for values and then expressing it to the
Right. Yeah. With just we would replace the word religion, and then like you were saying, we'll put divine there, and then include religion in that. Opposed to look, because the part of the misdirection with the Moorish paradigm is it being presented to people as a religious thing, and then as soon as they get it religious, now they don't want anything to do with it because they already know what religion did to our people. Like this is from outside people and from people inside. That shouldn't even be pushing it from that perspective, but with our people, they know that they call it our people are deified, so we can say this is God, and then our people are going to chase that for however long they're going to chase that as God, and then we say this is God, and then when they're done with that, then they're going to run to this. But then everybody else, their God is one thing, and that's what it's been for forever for them. With our people, they can keep moving, keep moving the goalposts on our people, while everybody else has all the rules to the game. They're not complaining about the refs. They're not complaining about fans throwing stuff on the court. There's none of that with everybody else's stuff. So with and like what you're saying, there's levels, there's different tiers, and we notice that all the different schools of thought sort of took a tier and sort of put it in a little section. And then you think that, okay, well, once I go there, I'm going to go get it. And then you go there, you realize it's not there. So now you're, oh man, I got to go find myself again. And you go to some other school of thought, and then you think that's going in direction. But going through all the different schools of thought, like majority of the Moors, you realize that, okay, everybody has everything except nationality. Everybody has some type of spiritual, whatever. Everybody has some type of humanitarian ideal, educational ideal. Well, defend ourselves, whatever like that. But the key that's missing for all of them is not having a nationality to do these things. So when we look at the Asian community, none of them have some of their people saying they're yellow, and then they're light-skinned yellow, and then you have, we look at Asia, and then they have all these islands in the Philippines, and then all these people are saying, oh yeah, well, I'm one of those islands. All of them know what their national origin is, and they're sticking to that as their identity, and they know what it is, and you ask them, they'll tell you. And then with our people, it's all these different this scattered perspective. Everybody else, it's in one, everything, their focus is one direction. You know, when we look at with the whole thing they're pulling with the immigrants and all that, right? Everybody's direction, the Ukrainian immigrants and the Mexicans and nobody talking about these Europeans who they're immigrants too.
Those are called newcomers.
Right? Yeah, right, right. You know, and again, now they have that name. Now they got people going under that as identity, newcomers to wherever. You know, right? Just shifting it around. You know, but remember that you know, one of the keys again is the whole national idea that all these other people are bringing with them when they come here. So we have a thing now with and we were laughing about it yesterday that they have this other than bicycle culture, right? So like little scooters, mopeds, whatever, all that stuff is to cater to all these immigrants coming here. That's what they got where they're from. You know what I mean? You don't need license for that. You just jump on the thing and you go wherever you're going. You check all those other spots, all those China and all them places, when they have their little cart and all that, 5 million of them on their little cart. That's all that stuff that they're doing here now. It's a lot more.
I'm sorry. Oh, I just want to just throw this in
sidebar.
You know, just on that topic. We know we have all these influx of people that come here. You know, it's nothing new. They've been coming.
Yeah, they've been coming. Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, if you really, really pay attention, like Lujo said, they keep their indigenous. They know their heritage. They know their bloodline, and they know and they understand nationality, and they understand with nationality. If you are from a nation, the nation is sovereign, not no individual. Mm-hmm. Every nation has a sovereignty. That's because that's their national identity. Ain't nobody individually a sovereign citizen. Mm-hmm. Your nation is sovereign, and you have rights that come with that. And what comes with that, when you understand these things like the Declaration of a Child, the Declaration of Human Rights, the Declaration of self-identifying who you are. And everybody that comes here, they know that, and they also know who you are. Mm-hmm. They know who you are. When they see you, they know who you are before they even get here. But they know that we don't know who we are. So, hey, if they don't know who they are, I ain't gonna tell you. And that's one of the things that they have to make an agreement with the powers that be, mm-hmm. that bring them over here. Don't tell them who they are, because if you do, we'll deport you.
Send you out.
We'll send you back to where you come, and everybody is coming here. I don't care where you from. And you can hear the people's bad mouth off to us about what they don't like here, this, that, or the third. But guess what? They trying to get grandma, uncle, aunt, them over here. Yep. They know that this is the land of milk and honey, because they can't get it like they, can get it where they are, because they're all coming here. Mm-hmm. They know that here is the American dream. This is the spot. They know that this is the land of milk and honey, and all they got to do is just have the will to do it. And they powers that they feel it, they know that they're going to give them that handout. Mm-hmm. Right? It's much easier for them now to come here and get all kind of assistance, where we've been here all our lives and they taking assistance from us, and then downsizing it, where you just get enough to buy peanut butter and bread, and where they get $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month. Yeah. And it's like, are you serious? Yeah. Rental assistance, all kind of help is just unbelievable. Yeah. And we still on the
back end, yeah.
of the totem pole. And, you know, this is, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for the ones for the ones that know better, they doing what they need to do.
Right.
And they ain't breaking no laws, and the Moors that know, they standing on the truth. They're not breaking any laws. You can bend the law to your will and get what you need to get done,
Yeah.
right? And then turn around and put them in check.
Mhm.
You know, just, I mean, I know a lot of people say, you know, this is chess, not checkers. No, it's just knowing, you know, who you are. Sit down and study and know your God-given rights, because it's in the Constitution. It's in all those
Documents, yeah.
that every other nation use. It's in there. It's in there. And the one declarations for the right of a child, this was written in 1947, and it still stands right now today. Even a child has the right to self-identify themselves of who they are, where they come from. And all they gotta do is tell them where their grandma come from or their mama, and they're like, okay, and they leave it alone. And they know this, but we don't, because we haven't been taught that. You know, all we've been taught is what they want us to teach us.
Yeah. You had something there? Go ahead.
I think you need to send in the regular decisive report. You know, can I get like 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah, do
I
it.
got it.
I just want to interrupt you.
Was that good for your question? You need it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it works.
All right.
Like I said, like, I mean, it's not necessarily new, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen stuff on, you know, you scroll through your phone, you see all kinds of stuff.
Right.
First time, you know, I saw this was, you know, they're trying to tell you do something to get some free stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so then later on down the road, Melissa, you know, she's doing her thing. I was like, okay, you know, so it was just something. So yeah, I was just curious.
Right.
I mean,
Cool.
you have teachers.
Yeah. Might as well use it. Yeah.
Where you come from? You know what I mean? Where does it come from?
For sure.
From you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. I was just gonna tell you, like, when you say, Moorish paradox, you want to know the word that was used. So I'll just keep a dictionary.
Okay.
So the word paradigm by definition, it's a noun, it just means to show. Right? So somebody can show you that more first. So Moorish paradigm, what is more? What is more? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just a way of life. And more stand on those two peace and justice, that's it. Anything outside of that, that's just your ego. So Moorish paradigm is more, following those two peace and justice. So,
What I like to say, man, my journey is taking me more to a solution oriented. Like, our community, we know the issue, but how do we solve our issue? That's the issue, right? So for us, it starts with family, because we travel, we compete. Like with our churches, we have plenty of churches. Why don't we have schools for our children like we used to? We done did it before.
Yeah.
Recently. Like we done did what more than pushing many times. Like I tell my cousins and my children, we're gonna be grandma. Like that was a neutral ground in most of our southern states anyway.
Right.
Grandma house, everybody is welcome.
No issues,
You got issues.
Yeah.
Everybody at grandma house, she gonna keep the order, the men know their line. Like we gonna be there again. So when it comes to our culture, that's what we have to bring back. We have to bring back that family love, those reunions on both sides, not just one. You know, that's hard for our people because, like we're speaking about, we don't lost who we are as a people. When we talk about religion, where do religions come from? Our spirituality, that's the core. We don't have to tell each other we're supposed to love each other. That's where the brother and sister come with our language. We know it, but it's hard for someone to practice it. Watch the environment, all right? Who we hang around, you know, the influences, what we want to be and what we want to see.
Yeah.
But again, what stops that? People in the household. We the front line. You know, the auntie, the uncle, the cops, we the front line, if they don't have power, it's the brothers.
Mhm.
It's the uncles, the cousins.
Takes a
So we got
village.
to have an environment to entice them to come together.
Right.
Because most of them is what? Trying to fend and do for themselves, for their own tribe. So we got to create an environment that the tribe can come together. I call it a good shepherd, a pastor. That's what grandma was, a pastor. You know, we just had the good shepherds that in. We had the aunties and the sisters. When we get back to that, everything falls in place. Like you were saying with the nation. We got money, but where's the money going?
Where's it going?
It's outsourced. We got to bring it home again. And for me, when we do that, and when we do that as individuals, like what we doing now, it'll be easy. It ain't hard. We know it.
Yeah.
It's just about practicing it. Like I tell mine, keep it simple. You know, like my children, I tell them, don't make it complicated. Everything that we study is for a child to understand. But we make it complicated. The world make everything we talk about complicated.
Yeah.
Real simple. Universal principles, like we say, ain't no religion I done came across got a problem with them five religions. I'm my own principle. So they're universal. We're gonna not love. You know, we're gonna knock truth. You know, we're gonna knock some freedom.
Yeah.
We're gonna knock these things.
Yeah.
And everybody want peace. And when we got them for us, we said, we can get justice. Islam, I leave with that.
Just a lot more.
It really comes into effect when the women, when the mothers get it, because, you know, they make the world run. All right, dudes kind of move after how they move, so the mothers getting this and moving in that manner, the rest of the nation don't have no choice but to follow, and she birthed those types of children. You know, she's the first school, so again, it's mainly about getting it to her. That's it right there. You know, Mother Nature, this is Mother's, you know, laws right after her. She want to lay it down. So when she gets back to that state, and they're not all catty with each other and things of that nature, it's done. You know, when you think about the Inquisition and stuff, they said they were killing witches. But as you know, as you study, you might get a witch with wise woman. So my question is, why do you go kill all the
Wise women for it. Yeah. That's a plan.
That's right. If I make sure, Islam, in the words of Dr. Ben, you show me how any nation treats a woman, and I can tell you, you know, how the nation is.
Mm-hmm.
Can no nation rise higher than their woman? So mother is really the leader.
Yep.
Mama the leader. Not daddy, mama the leader.
Yep.
At least when I grew up in the 60s, great grandma ran everybody's house. I don't care how old you were, you got to check with great grandma.
Yeah.
You want to buy a house?
Before
You buy a
anything.
car?
Yeah.
You want to get married? Blah. You got to check with great grandma.
Yeah.
If great grandma don't give it a blessing, you ain't
It's
gonna
not
do
happening.
nothing. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep. And then so the next place is how we got what happens now with not having all that stuff we're talking about, the family structure, the unity, right? Not having a nationality, just running around here. This is what's going on now. Can you name one African god? How can you define yourself, the very essence of yourself, the very essence of your soul, and organize the very nature of your life here on earth based on a God handed to us by our slave masters, and claim that you have no slave consciousness and are not related to slavery? In other words, we are possessed by spirits and demons. We have let other people's spirit take possession of our bodies and take possession of our minds. When we speak, it is with a voice that is demonic, and it uses our lips to speak its own language. Yes, we have to recognize this. We are possessed. If we are to transform ourselves and to transform the nature of our relationship with those who are our masters, we must engage in an exorcism and thus clear the devils out of our minds. And again, going back to the Moorish paradigm and its relation to all this, that's something that Moors talk about us having to do. Once you get into this information, now you have to exercise all your demons, all the stuff that has been latching onto you for the past how much ever years until you came into this realization of who you are for real, right? Who you are divinely, who you are etherically, who you are celestially, who you are astrologically. All the knowing yourself in all these different aspects allows you to be more grounded when you're in this plane or on this plane. The exorcism is part of the rites of passage, if you will, when you start getting into this information, realizing how much wrong you've been told, how long you've applied wrong to your life, and the manifestations from that. And then you get into this information and you start applying right to your life, and you're seeing the manifestation from that. Why would our people be so diabolical to not let us know about this? Why would they tell us about all this other stuff, all these other cultures? There wasn't in the black consciousness realm. The Moor was just a honorable mention, Then they go into ours in Sumeria, and ours into Egypt, and ours into all these different cultures. But the culture that was yesterday, the culture that just fell yesterday, we know nothing about it. Nobody talks about it. And we also have 700 years of it, pre-slavery, which if we're tracing ourselves back as a people, then after slavery should be in the Moorish paradigm, and then we're in that for 700 years before we even start talking about Egypt and all that. If we're saying, we're going to listen to the master teachers and then we'll follow ourselves back. Well, before slavery, it was Moors for 700 years. And we either stop at slavery and don't go past that, or we jump over the Moorish part. We jump over 700 years of our history, and then go into some history that it's in the air. Even when we look at the Americas, they do the same thing. They talk about all this ancient stuff all around the world, but they never talk about ancient stuff from over here. And the people here aren't, just like you're saying, the people here aren't realizing that we're in the land of milk and honey, and then we're leaving here to try to go to somewhere else to try to find ourselves and find home and whatever, when all that stuff is right here, and it's been right here, right under our nose the whole time. So all that is getting us, into not being able to be possessed because you have certain information, right? So it goes into the different levels of possession. So demonic possession, somnambulistic possession. At this time, it is worthwhile to read a bit about demonic possession. It is interesting to look at the literature on possession. We have a couple types of possession. One is somnambulistic possession. Somnus, S-O-M-N-U-S, is this instance having to do with sleep. You hear it in the brand name Sominex. Ambulistic, to move around, ambulatory. So we're talking about people who are sleepwalking. They're not awake, but they're walking around. Their body is moving. It is walking in an organized fashion and walking systematically, but the person is still asleep. In somnambulistic possession, the individual's original self has been repressed and displaced, and he identifies with the spirit that possesses him. His I and the spirit's I are one and the same. We have a lot of that here today, where the spirit that has been implanted in us, we have taken to be us, and we've identified with it, right? So the spirit of black, when we look up black, and then it's everything negative. And then we look at black communities and nothing good's happening there. And black this, nothing good's happening there. And black whatever, nothing's happening there, right? This is that idea of sleepwalking, because all these people who say that they're black are brown. And this is not some hard stuff to figure out, that how we're not black people. Just look at yourself and then put something black next to you. And then to not have that register, there's either something wrong in here, or they're under some serious brainwash. That is just, you just have to let those people let them sleep. When they're ready to wake up, they'll wake up. But you're not gonna go out there, it's like I think it was Taj that was making the joke about waking up people. In this thing, we get the information, now we want to go wake people up. But there's people who, you gotta wake them up slow. Some people, they'll wake up swinging. Some people are gonna wake up, have a heart attack. Some people are gonna wake up angry because you disrupted their sleep or whatever. Then to some people it's easy. You just get them a tap like that, and they're looking up, looking at you, right? So some of these individuals in their sleep, you might just have to let them sleep. Don't go over and beyond to try. Well, they should be getting this because it doesn't have to go like that. Everybody's on their own path. Everybody has to find their own way. We use the term Moorish guideposts. You're just a sign pointing in a direction for them, and they're either going to see the sign, go that direction, or they're going to go wherever it is that they're going. Right? Self-hatred as a European defense mechanism. Self-hatred is the Europeans' greatest protection against being destroyed by the Asiatics. To a great extent, one function of the personality is to direct energy and direct aggression, to channel aggression, energy, wishes, and impulses in particular directions, to organize feelings, to organize energy, to achieve certain ends. Those things that we hate often, when we are angry or hostile, we aggress against them. We often attack them, we destroy them. We have a problem then. If we attack the things we hate, if we attack the things toward which we hold hostility, then we are overtly frustrated. And when we are angry, then what happens if the thing which we hate is ourselves? Lucid possession. There's another form of possession we call lucid possession. In this case, the person at least has a sense of self, and they have the sense that there's another spirit in them, and they struggle with that spirit, sometimes losing the battle. They become obsessed in their struggle with their spirit, and in a sense are disenabled by that struggle. So some of us are in that state where we're not quite satisfied with the identity we have. We know something, or we know somehow that there is a deeper self in us. We are also aware that there's a Eurocentrically implanted demon in us, and we wrestle with it daily. Right? So the idea of, we could use diet, for example, with our people. With the internet thing going on, there's so much stuff that's popping up with regard to diet and how to eat and what to eat and what you should, and how much water to drink and how much this and how much that and all that, right? There's a place where we just have to look to what our ancestors did, right? Once we check what they did, it'll be clear to us where we're supposed to go. So when we open up ourselves to, acknowledging that there's spirit of our ancestors, there's also spirit of the people who want to try to take us out. Once we acknowledge and recognize the ancestral spirit, so you might say, every time we drink something, we pour something else because of libation. Just as a pattern of acknowledging the ancestral way of doing things, right? The ancestors always get something first, right? You do that, you get rid of a layer of possession. We look at cleansing our domicile, cleansing ourselves, saging, incense, things like that. All these things are things that are gonna assist us in getting rid of these different levels of this possession that we probably wouldn't even know that we're possessed. You know, Dr. Layla Africa was talking about emotions being possessions of people. So if you have somebody who, for example, if they like crunchy things, they have anger demon, right? If they constantly are going after things that are crunchy, right? You know, different levels of possession, different ways that things are going to attach itself to you to get you off of where it is that you're supposed to be going, right? Spontaneous and artificial possession. This is in contrast to one we refer to as artificial, spontaneous, one deliberately created. What do we mean by that? When we go into a particular social setting, such as church, concert, go through rituals and behavior, we go there and go through these behaviors, rituals, songs, dance as a means of deliberately being possessed by the spirit and having our bodies taken over and being possessed. And then they're doing that with the music thing now. That they're going to play the demonic stuff 50 times. So you don't have to listen to it. You just sing it to yourself. Right? And we're talking about, having these particular frequencies out there, and then people doing it that aren't even down with it. You know, like people who they don't even listen to little whoever, but the jingle's in their head. Right, just because it got played 50 times, and now they're carrying around this jingle, and then that's creating an energy around them that, you know, negative stuff is coming at them all the time. Man, I don't know what it is, what is going on. I did my this morning, I did my that, I did my. How come? It's because you have this damn jingle that the radio is on for 2 seconds, and the jingle's already on you. Right? Latent possession. When we are possessed and we do not even know that we are possessed, this is referred to as latent possession. We are not even aware, and those are the hardest ones to break through because they don't see any kind of split within the personality. When you try to exercise their possessive spirit, they feel as if you're attacking them personally. In defending their person, they defend the spirit that possesses them. Right, so that's all the people we've been trying to put on game, and they're not hearing it, they don't want it, and no matter what proof you present to them, it's not getting through. Their blockage is so thick that truth could be in their face and they're not accepting it. Latent possession, and again, just like the somnambulistic possession, certain people you just gotta let them be possessed. Any questions, comments? Good.
Anybody want water or?
Oh yeah, if anybody needs anything, feel free to quietly hit the back table. There's some fruit back there, water, and whatever else. So feel free. One of the other stops that we're going to check is Blueprint for Black Power by Amos Wilson. This is another one that again, going to the different schools of thought. You get into the Moorish paradigm and you sort of take a step back into things just to see, you know, where it was at. You know what I mean? And majority of the information, whether you're dealing with Jewel Pukram, Amos Wilson, Franz Cressus Welsing, any of these individuals that are in the realm of psychology is right up our alley. Everything is right there. It's just that they're using the wrong terminology. You know, they're saying black, saying, you know, Nation Islam. They're saying all the different schools of thought instead of just calling us Moors. There's, and again, this is going into the national perspective that is throughout all this literature, that, you know, because of all the different possessions, our people can't, it's not registering with them. So Noble Drew Ali made the statement, it's only going to be a handful saved with fingers left over. So being that it's only going to be a handful saved, then it's going to be the handful that's going to get anything done that's going to get done. There's no expecting the, you know, like when we say, oh yeah, we're gonna have the lecture, and then we put out the flyers and all that, and then we're gonna see the line going around the building, like when, you know, new J's are dropping or whatever like that. That stuff ain't happen. So we get together with who it is that we have, and we get it done. That needs to get done, right? So some excerpts from this. We'll go by, I guess, the little chapters and certain quotes here that I outlined. Self-defeating economic ideology and trade strategy of the quote-unquote African-American community, along with the deliberate repression of its economic development by the European American. It is an economic openness to other non-Black communities. The quote-unquote African-American community has permitted these communities to, while protecting their own internal markets, economically monopolize the quote-unquote African-American markets with little or no direct cost to themselves and with little or no real or significant benefit to the African-American community itself. The free market attitude of the quote-unquote African-American community enables these communities to build social and economic walls around their domestic markets, to protect and retain the income gained from their business earnings received from the quote-unquote Black community without fear of African-American economic retaliation. Right? So all the different people coming into our communities, setting up shop, making money off our people, but our people could never go in their community and do that. Our people couldn't even go in their own community and do that. As soon as they set something up, either their own is gonna not support it, or some foreigner is gonna come buy it and then call it some different name, and now making gazillions off that because now they have their own nationals supporting this thing. We use the example of there's this Filipino chicken spot called Jollibee's out near Toronto, and when they opened that store, these people had like a week of line up, going down the street, around the corner, around the other corner, down the other street for some chicken. Right? Now, their own goes there and shop, but all other nations too also go there, but mainly their own go there, right? And they rep for their chicken like how, you know, our people rep for all the destructive stuff that we're about, right? And that's just chicken that they're repping like that for. So what about their banks? What about their industry? What about their manufacturing companies? What about, right? The Asians, they have a thing now out near Canaanland where they're starting to set up their own grocery stores. So they have their grocery store. They have the regular grocery store everybody goes to. Then you got the Asian grocery store where it's only Asian stuff in there. And you think about, okay, well, this European grocery store been here, and then they have a section for, you know, they have an international section for international whoever's, you know, that's 2 aisles, and then they got everybody else's stuff, you know, the water, the chips, the fruits, the veggies, or whatever. And then you go to the Asian spot, and then they have this little section with all the stuff from the regular grocery store, but then everything else in there is Asian, right? So fish, Asian package, Asian chips, whatever treats, whatever drinks, whatever it is that they got, everything's catering to their people and them, right? These are the things that without having a nationality, we can't even fathom these things. We look at it as, oh, well, they're coming in our community and they're not. They're exercising as nationals. As a national, you want your own national food when you're hungry. You're not going to be eating from all these different people, you know. Somebody was making a joke, or there was a meme or something that said they'd never seen a commercial for a Chinese restaurant. They don't even have to advertise because their own is going to go to their own stuff without question. If you line up food spots, they're going to go to their own and eat there. And then ours are going to look at our own like, well, I don't know. They wash their hands and all that stuff, but they're going to whoever out here, people doing all types of madness with the food, babies in the food and all types of madness. They're going there, no question, right? But our own people trying to do something good for ourselves or whatever like that, they're not even going there. Right? So this is still in the chapter of self-defeating economic ideology and trade strategy of the NBCs. A review of alien or immigrant entrepreneurs indicates that economic mechanisms such as we have just described were utilized effectively to gain and sustain their economic monopoly of quote-unquote African-American community markets. Hence, its efforts to gain control over its own internal markets and to compete successfully in larger national and international markets, the quote-unquote African-Americans community must utilize similar mechanisms on its own behalf. So once again, in order for the quote-unquote Negro, Black, colored, African-American, African-Canadian, whoever's to make a name for themselves, this is what Amos Wilson's saying, in order for them to make a name for themselves, they should employ the methods of other nationals. The same thing that Noble Jewel is saying in the 20s, telling our people that we're not Negro, Black, colored, that we're Moors, so we could start exercising as nationals or living as nationals opposed to living as wards or slaves or somebody else's property or whatever, right? So these are, and there's 14 things that they're saying that the Asiatic should be doing, right? And they should be reviewing the alien or immigrant entrepreneurs and using their economic mechanisms on ourselves. 1, perceive itself as a nation among nations in America and organize itself and act according to its own national plans. Right? So when we look at the Ashkenazi, they have their national plan, Protocols of Zion. It's a 500-year plan. And then whoever has whatever plan, and then that's a 200-year plan. And then our people got time to plan, and they can't even plan for tomorrow. But some people out there have a 500-year plan that they're executing to the date so that they can get whatever done for their nation. Right? 2, develop its human resources appropriate to its achieving national goals and to their broadest and most superior extent. It must commit as much as practically possible those resources to the exclusive and creative use of its developing enterprises and collective economy. 3, reduce its consumption as much as practically possible of the goods and services produced and sold by other communities, while increasing its consumption of those goods and services produced by its own members and organizations. And then Noble Ali making the reference that he brought us this info to make us better citizens. And the citizens who are doing stuff right, they have industry, they got businesses, they got a school, they got all the things that are necessary for them to, even though they're a foreigner somewhere, to be able to have their own stuff. That they're not even in their own land and they got their own supermarket they can go to, and then we're in our own land and then we keep going to foreigners' stuff. Right? When we look at, and this is right now, we look at right now, you go to whatever community store, whether it's family business, convenience store, hair store, whatever. You go there. If you were in junior high school, going to the store, you go there as an adult, it's their whoever that's running it now, their cousin or something like that, their son or whoever took it over, whatever. They always pass the stuff down to the next generation. And then again, our people, we're going to give stuff to the church and give it to the mosque and give it to all these other foreign entities that don't even care about us. Right? 4, increase its savings by reducing consumption of extra communal goods and services and by engaging in prudent, productive investment strategies, depositing and investing monies in community-owned financial institutions by utilizing traditional modes of savings and investments such as SUSU and cooperative saving arrangements. It must in turn use those savings to invest in and finance its economic growth and development and to increase its individual and communal wealth. 5, protect its fledgling economy and enterprises from alien competition, though not in ways which reinforce economic efficiency in its own business and service institutions, but in ways which allow them to accumulate the necessary resources and highly efficient organization to compete in the open market. The community should note, as does Lake, that protection is not necessarily a sign of domestic political failure. Both protection and free trade are legitimate and effective instruments to be used in national advantage. We should not allow an economic ideology to blind us to this historical and deeply political reality. Right? And then Noble Ali made reference to that with talking about our brothers from the East are going to be here to assist us. Now, when Moors go around to different businesses, for example, to exercise their tax exemption, for example, or their non-obligation to tax. The places that have people who are Asiatics, they ain't got no issues. They already know what's up. They already know we're the indigenous people. They already know that this is our land. They already know that over here is Morocco. They already know that, the first people where they come from look like us. So they give us supreme honors when they see us being who we know our ancient foremothers and forefathers are, and who they know our ancient foremothers and forefathers are. But then when we, be Negro, black, colored, we don't get that same interaction with them. So for example, like Moors would they have their turban on, fez on, go to some store and get some royal treatment. And then hour later they go there dressed like everybody else, and it's not the same thing. They treat them absolutely different just because they're not being who they know that we're supposed to be. You're right? And believe me, they know who we're supposed to be. Our problem is not knowing. 6, pursue protection and export expansion. The community and its relevant institutions must discover and develop routinized ways of exporting and importing goods and services through the quote-unquote African diaspora, Latin America, Asia, and North Africa. Local import in the U.S. involves manufacturing, wholesaling, distributing, and retailing in the general American market, selling professional services and job skills in the general market, and returning the income gained from these outside activities to the community to be saved and expended with community-owned enterprises and institutions. So, Jackie Chan, for example, was big in Asia, but not here. He started doing movies here, and then he got big here, and he was big there. When he got big here, he started taking all his checks from here and giving them back over there. All the movies that he did that were blockbuster, whatever, took all the finance, gave it back to where he's from, logically. And he's somebody that, from what they say, he has one pants, one shirt, he has a little house or whatever like that he built, and then that's it. Right? This is somebody prominent that's taken the idea of, you know what, okay, well, if I make $1 million and multiply that by 800 because this movie box office whatever, then I could actually do something for my people with this finance that I didn't even get from my people like that. Right? Take it in, build their own stuff. Take it, build their own stuff. Go out there, do whatever, take the finance, build their own stuff. Our people take the finance, build somebody else's stuff. Work hard for whatever like that, taking all that finance that work hard for, giving it to somebody else that the turnover isn't happening with us. Right? Any comments or questions with regard to anything we went down so far?
Does that have to do with his upbringing, his culture, his comments?
Yeah. It a lot of it has to do with that, because when you look at people who are going the angle of philanthropy, that's not learned. These people are just good people, right? Unless you're looking at Bill and Melinda and them people have their stuff that's not moral, because the stuff that they're doing isn't really equating to being philanthropists, right? You're right. You know what I mean? But so in certain aspects, yeah, it's that's not, they're not really, they're just saying they're doing that and they're not really about it. But in cases like that, you also see it with somebody showed, who was it again? Keanu Reeves riding the train. Like, all right, Keanu Reeves riding the train. Like, what's he doing on the train? He's supposed to be, that's multi-million-dollar guy. Why is he on the train? And then why is he on the train? And why isn't people around him like, oh my God, it's him or whatever like that? Because certain people's energy, it's just not going to go there. They're not caught up in the limelight like that or wanting to be that. You know what I mean? They just got an opportunity and took advantage of it. Somebody was saying the other day that Wesley Snipes' career, his career is tainted with his taxes thing and his this and that. When he saved Marvel, there would be no Marvel right now if it wasn't for Blade. Right? He's Asiatic. He had his own, before Tyler Perry, he had his own stuff that he was trying to do, with regard to being able to produce our own movies and stuff like that. I think it was Amin Ra Films. He comes, he's talking about Amin Ra Films. No wonder they shut him down. No wonder they attacked him and went after him the way that they did and try to mess up his career or whatever. Right? But of course, they're gonna let Joanna Man be in there. They're gonna let her have multi-million-dollar place and do movies and all that. 8, continue to found small, well-niched companies, for these companies are the engines of economic growth and employment in America. Continue to apply strong political and consumer pressure to gain set aids and other preferences for quote-unquote black-owned enterprises. Have no fear of demanding such preference as forms of reparations for African people who endured the concentration camps of America, right? Not endured the slavery of America, endured the concentration camps of America. It makes that thing a whole different thing if you're looking at it and presenting it like that, opposed to, oh, they're a slave on the plantation and whatever like that. You start talking about concentration camp, you're talking about international war crimes now. You're not just talking about they beat up a black guy or whatever. Become the most educated and best trained group in America and the world. Demand equal and preferential employment at all levels of American society in the name of quote unquote African ancestry, not as a person of color or as a minority. And that's directly in relation with Noble Drew Ali's teachings, that we're not Negro, black, colored, we're Moors, which is not doing stuff as a person of color and not doing anything as a minority. If we just even do that, we'll solve majority of our problems as a people. 11, develop and practice cooperative economics wherever and whenever appropriate. 12, be willing to challenge convention and tradition, assume risks, and reconceptualize customary and accepted rules or routines, right? Going back to what the Moor was saying earlier, that, you know, as Moors, we're putting the 5 principles up front. If an individual can't deal with those, then he can't deal with this Moorish movement. Just that 5 principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Could you live by those? Well, I don't know, because and start going in there, you already know that they're not going to make it. You know, community members must thoroughly prepare themselves to work for and succeed in both profit and nonprofit organizations, in powerfully entrenched governmental and private agencies in the nation and the world. Right? So there's no realm that we shouldn't be involved in as far as our execution. There should be all these different levels. We need people who are in construction. We need people who are in you know, agriculture. We need people, because there's all these different levels where we need to step our stuff up. And again, once we look at other people, we're seeing them, you know, come here getting things, and then we get into this mindset of, oh well, you know, somebody's against us and somebody's fighting and they're stopping us from doing whatever. It ain't them, it's us that's stopping it. Because we were given all the keys, we were given all the lessons, we were given everything that's needed for us to be prosperous, for us to hand something down to the generations that are coming. We had the opportunity, and when we check the timeline, we realized that after Noble Drew Ali got assassinated in 1929 to present, there's been a campaign to keep our people, Negro, black, colored, deaf, blind, dumb, and keep going through this revolving door, whether it's prison revolving door, whether it's lack of economic revolving door, like we're talking about generational curse revolving door. They're going to have us going through this thing while everybody else everything's good with them. Right? And the one thing that we realize with them that we're not doing is they're recognizing that they're a nation, and then they're in this other body, whether they call it a nation, whether they call it corporate state, whether they call it whatever, they're a nation in that or in this. And that's how they're able to get around and do the things that they're doing, because even though United States is a corpse, whoever these foreigners are, Ukrainians, they didn't come here and be Europeans or white people, or they came here to be Ukrainians. Whoever else that was brought here, whoever else that came here, they come here as their nation. They don't come here and then their name changes to something else. Their name might change, for example, on the little identification that they get. So you might say, Lo Ping Hao comes over here, his license is Ben Chow, right? But he's not Ben at the house. He's only Ben when he shows this instrument. But with our people, we're that brand, whether we have the instrument or not. They're saying, oh yeah, it's a black guy. Or it's Negro, it's colored, or whatever the case is, right? Peace.
That is the concept that has been difficult for me to accept. Like having like the driver's license, but also being Carmisha Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It just made me it kind of like set me down and made me be quiet because I was yelling, like, we're Moors, we're not black. And then, but I still have these things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like just really balancing them.
Yeah.
I'm just finding my balance.
Right. Because I mean, it's, and the majority of that is just due to the occupation. So, hostile occupation. So, opposed to having this in our own space, we have to go get a spot because that's just what it is. You know what I mean? You're gonna either go expense yourself, going out there and trying to get a space to make this happen, or you're gonna go to the free people. Or the free people might say, you got to show a license, in order to lose this or whatever like that. We need some identification or whatever. All right, here it is. No different than, getting here. Oh, you on passport? Oh, there it is. No problem. Let me on the plane so I can go do whatever it is I have to do. Because ID, whether it's Moorish ID or whether it's corporate ID, that's not me. That's a piece of plastic. That ain't nothing to do with me. I'm right there in front of you right now. Is really what it is, So if they have to take this thing and to feel happy about themselves, because whatever like that, then here, take the thing so I could get on with what I'm supposed to get on with, And again, it's the whole thing of the jurisdictions. There's certain jurisdictions where the occupation isn't really like that. There's no fight when you show your ID or whatever ID you show. It's not going to be an issue. Here, they'll take it. And there's certain places where you got to go to the upper office of whoever to sit down with them, and just because you reserved your rights on something, So, but yes, it's ultimately it's a balancing because of the occupation. So you sort of kavit emptor as you're maneuvering. Good.
So it's like a pacifier in a way, because they are our sons and daughters.
Yeah,
So
for them, yeah, you could look at it like that. Yeah.
Okay.
The crime, you stick the thing in their mouth,
Yeah.
then they shut the hell up.
Yeah.
They'll deal with you a little bit easier or lighter because you gave them the thing that they want to see and whatever. And the mindset is recognizing that even if it's Moorish, it's not you. Like we have nationality card, and then we say, yeah, we got nationality card. No, now I'm going to show this ID because that's still not you. That's still just a piece of plastic. Like it's still a piece of plastic. Just like the other plastic that you got from them people that, right? And again, it's the part of recognizing that there's occupation. So certain things that you do are out of private necessity. It's not because you want to, or, you know, well, Noble Drew Ali said, and whatever like that. We're dealing with this real time right now. Like, what are we going to be doing? How are we going to be looking at this? Certain things you could look at it open and broad. Certain things you got to get the microscope or whatever like that, and you got to zoom in on this thing before you even start going in a direction, you know, because they might even have things set up already, you know, like how you're bringing up the sovereign citizen thing, right? There was a time where that wouldn't even be brought into question when a Moor steps up or whatever like that. They're not even comparing Moors to sovereign citizens. And then something happened where these things went like this. So now, every time highwayman or whoever, we got, oh, just so you know, I'm not sovereign citizen, just so, in case you're trying to go there, just know that I'm not that, you know? Yeah, more.
Well, some of those problems in mind, I think, it comes into the nation, like us practicing our nation, like I believe Dred Scott case speaks on so-called black people never play no part in sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
It's because we're not collected. Like when we start having our own representatives, meaning unity to put our own representatives in power and place to speak for us, those things I think will stop being required because now we move like each other's jurisdiction, we move in a certain way as people. So we're not required to have these things because in our indigenous culture, we don't use them.
Right.
We use this, we move like this.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a unity thing.
Right.
And that's why we need our community. That's why we need our own representatives. But how you get a representative? People have to vote.
Right.
We have to agree that, hey, he speaks to
This
us.
guy is the
She
guy.
speaks to
Yeah.
us. And that's where we're lacking.
Yeah.
We're not coming together in that jurisdiction and say, hey, we are collective and we want them to represent us at this platform. When we get there, it's not enough. It's over.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is also the thing of, you know, getting us not to be there.
Right.
You know, getting us to pushing the Negro, black, whatever. Because remember that when we say unity, we're talking about them too. When we say unity, you know what I mean? When other people say unity, they don't have the scatter thing. You know, when they say unity, they all know Sri Lankan, Hindustani, German. They already know what it is. With our people, we say unity, and oh yeah, well, the Trinidadians over here, and the Guyanese over here, and the Jamaicans over here, and all these different factions that really all of them are one, but because of the misinformation or whatever, we have a greater task at unity than other people have, because we got to get all them people too if we want to talk unity like that. If not, then the Moors know what they know. You go out, you exercise your stuff, you get your body politic together, and then that's the same unity as if you had 5 million. You know. Go ahead, Moore. Yeah, go ahead. Islam.
The only person could save anybody is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no savior, Sky Daddy ain't coming. None of that. You have to save yourself. You have to become your higher self. Ain't nobody else coming. Your mama can't save you, your daddy can't save you, your sister can't save you, your brother can't save you. Heck, if you don't know, you can't even save your own children. Right? You have to become the LAW. You have to become the LAW. We know that it's law, that's what we've been taught, but it's an acronym, third grade grammar. Everything, people forgot third grade grammar. Prefix, suffix, noun, pronoun, adjectives, so on and so forth. And we've been cursing our own selves for so long. It's like second nature. And one thing Cujo had mentioned early in the program, and he was stating about the book, about the exorcisms that we have to have, the different levels of sleepwalking and things of that nature. A lot of people don't understand. Yeah, the author in the book wrote this, but it really goes down to brainwaves. Everybody's not on the same brainwave.
Mhm.
There are 5 brainwave patterns, just like there are 5 different types of people who sleepwalkers and things of that nature. He's talking about the different energies that we can get on, ourselves or put it on other people, and whew, this thing is very, very serious.
That makes sense, because what you're talking about is science that just came out to
Yeah.
explain what's already been. I understand. Now, you're talking about coming together with unity, economics, and all this things right there. You were talking about how Noble Drew already, he was, he ended in, you said 28?
29, yeah.
29?
Yeah.
So, and the idea of what was coming together, we can't build a community. So, you were coming up on the depression, right? Going through that time, those communities were building.
Yeah.
Statistically. Right? So, after the war and all this other stuff, you had those communities.
Yeah.
They were getting really big. Really effective. So, right when they started to do this immigration situation, you have the laws and everything, and the powers that be who need to necessarily manipulate and move around this money that they're getting their hands on. So I guess it has this systemic situation because of what's being applied.
Yeah.
But what do you think? So the fact that you had something at that time, what's different between then and now? If you can even go back and look at it and see, that's exactly what they were doing.
Well, what?
Have the government saying, hey, you can do it easier this way, we'll expect you to give you this money, we'll do X, Y, Z. We're doing the best for the people to come together, but at the detriment of community. So what do you think about that? Do you think it coincides, Tommy?
Well, when we look at the societal conditions, so for example, going from gold and silver being money to paper being money, that eliminated a lot of our wealth, because they made us give up the gold and silver for the paper, and then we gave it up. It's not like we said, well, you're giving me paper, like I got gold, why are you coming to my house to take gold and silver out and give me paper? And then why am I giving it up? Oh well, the government, and they're gonna jail you if you have gold and all that stuff. It's gonna make people give up their stuff. You know what I mean? Property, land, houses, and stuff like that our people had in their possession, that it got passed down. Then it got to one part of the generation where they're like, we ain't passing it down anymore. We're about to sell this. You see it a lot at the whoever was the head of the family when they were transitioning, and then you have the funeral, and then everybody's brawling at the funeral because they didn't get their cut, or they didn't. Well, I was supposed to get. And all that is because we went from having a allodial title that goes in the holy book, that your name's on it, and then that's the deed, to bringing all these people in our affairs. Now we got lawyers in there and banks in there, and everybody's in our business, but we're in none of theirs. And then they come in, they siphon off the top, and then in 5 years you realize that we have nothing, and then you can't go get it back, because company changed names and all their rights, and then all these things going into the societal changes that happen once they said quote unquote New Deal. And then you have all this thing happening from 1933 on, where now people got licenses, and now people they need to pay certain taxes. They need this, or you can't go over there anymore because we're building a highway there now. So you got to go all the way that way, and but all these things happen because of our people just dropping the ball, having certain things. We talk about it in Canaanland a lot, where we had let's say 1980s, there was like an influx of Caribbean, even 70s too, influx of Caribbean people going there, right? They went there, they bought their property, they bought whatever they could, to establish themselves in this new country, whatever the case is. And then we get to 2024, right? And then all these people, they've maybe moved 2 or 3 times, expanded, whatever the case is. Right, 2024, they got, 15 family members, and 20% of them have a property that they own. Some other nation that came here, that came to Toronto, now they have a community. They've been on there 10 years, and then the community is only them in the community, because when they came here, opposed to us, 20 of them lived in one spot. So they paid it off in 2 years, opposed to us paying it off in 20, because it's only us. Or it's that thing where, well, you're 16, you got to get out of the house and all that stuff. When the other cultures, they'll keep them in there till they're 40, make them pay this house off. And then once it's paid off, then then 2 go in there, and then 18 go to the next spot next door, and then now 18 of them are in that, and then they bring 2 more of their cousins down, then they pay that off in 2 years, and then they go get the next spot. And that cycle continues, and then in 20 years they have a community that's fenced in, only their people are in there, and then our people are still trying to figure this thing out.
Question is, who's gonna start?
Yeah, well, it starts with self, Yeah.
You be asking, well, who's gonna do it? No,
Yeah.
you are Batman.
Yeah.
You do it.
Right. Yeah.
You do it.
It's gonna be, yeah.
Yeah.
I say you build it,
Yeah.
you build it, they'll come.
Yeah.
You.
It's us having to do it. And again, it's not that it can't happen. We got the finance to make it happen. We just like this thing. We have to prioritize where our finance is going. We might not need, like the Moorish said, he shops at the spot where you're gonna get it in bulk. Why buy one of these if I could buy 10 and pay the price for one? And our people want to go buy one for the price, right? And think that they got something when they could have spread it out a lot better than what we did, thinking that, oh yeah, it has to be this way because so and so did, and then we got to follow this. But it's open. There's no real concrete way that it has to be done like that. You know what I mean? It's you're looking at the time and what is it that, so for ourselves, for example, we look at it as, yeah, we have the body, we have the minds, we have the hearts, we have the whatever, but we don't have the finance to get it done. So we need to generate this finance, whether it's going to some people to get a grant, whether go get a loan, whether go whatever. Like you look at the certain black whoever's that said, oh yeah, we're gonna build our own community, right? And then they went, they got whatever loan it is or whatever, and then they built all their houses. Now they have a community. Now, how long that's gonna last is based on, are they really gonna support their own thing like that? right? Knowing that what they put out to get this thing, you know, it's just like if you build a spot, you're not gonna sit there, let it run down, or you buy a car or something like that. You know what I mean? You're not gonna sit there and beat it up or whatever. You're gonna get the oil change. You're gonna change the tires. You're gonna do the little things necessary to have this thing, you know, last for a little bit. You know, but it all starts with us wanting to do it and having the commitment. You know, just like the brother was saying, our people like microwave. We want stuff tomorrow. We want you know the pyramid to be built in a day. Well, you know, if we got 50-ton bricks and then 1 million bricks, it's probably not going to happen in a day. You know, so who's game to, you know, let's build a pyramid? You know, majority of people just look at a pyramid and say, well, I don't know, that looks like a lot of work or whatever, not looking at what we're going to have at the end. You know, if our ancestors thought about, well, I don't know if we should build this thing, you know, we wouldn't have these things right now. Like we're listening to Manly P. Hall earlier today, you know, talking about, you know, these, you wouldn't have examples if the ancestors didn't do certain things. You wouldn't even have a reference point to say, oh wow, we could do great things or whatever like that. It wouldn't even exist if our ancestors didn't do certain things. You know, and going back to the thing to say, like, you know, who was it that said, yeah, let's build this pyramid. Let's use 50-ton bricks to build this thing. And we're going to have, you know, 2 million bricks in this thing. And what you see above the ground, that's not even it. There's way more to this thing under the ground. You know, the guy who came up and said, oh yeah, here's the blueprint for the pyramids. I know people looked at it and said, no, I ain't getting down with that. No way, I'm not getting down with that. You mean 50-ton bricks? To do what? Like, what are you building this thing for? You know, certain ones who are on the mindset, on the higher level of thinking, those are the ones who were able to, oh, okay, so we can move the bricks with our minds or whatever like that. We don't got to be lifting these things, you know, or you know, oh, let's build it, you know, before the sandstorm comes and covers everything up. How about we build this thing before, because, you know, they check the astrological to know that, okay, well, we gotta get something going on here. You know, we gotta build this civilization, you know, before this turns into a desert in how much ever years, because the oracle said that, you know, this stuff is coming. Somebody has to take the initial steps, you know. Juali took the initial step in the 20s while everybody's playing Negro black colored games. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not any of that. We have a history, we have a culture. Our history goes back, you know, thousands of years. We got a flag, thousands of years. We got culture, that's thousands of years. We got, you know, ancestral connections that go back to ancient people that we don't even have any documentation really of them like that, but we know that they were around. But once that step is taken, you know, it's similar with here. You know, there was nothing going on out here as far as the Moorish paradigm. In the last 2 years, there's been something out here for Moors to come together, and Moors coming together. Like I was saying, Moors traveling from 5 hours to be with Moors. You know, that's a big deal. You know, considering guy around the corner didn't show up. You know, for whatever reason, you know what I mean? Everybody has their stuff they're dealing with or whatever the case is, but, you know, like you're saying, you can't save everybody until they want to save themselves. There's a lot more.
I also want to put this sidebar in. Again, you got declared Moors and you have undeclared Moors.
Yeah.
But not all Moors are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Not all, I mean, they clicked up just like everybody else. You got some that's gonna do right, and you got some that's just looking to do wrong. And you have to have the you have to have the discernment to know the difference. You feel me?
Yep.
Just cause somebody else you see running around with a fez or a turban on, don't mean that, you know, they probably like the Moors you was growing with. You feel me? And you have to be able to know the difference. And they're like, they all, they clicked up just like everybody else.
Mhm.
But you'll know, and you'll fit right in when you know you then made that right and you keep it straight. You'll know. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that out there, that all Moors ain't the same, they different. And you know, we got some of them out there that just think that this is a fashion show, or, the latest thing that's popping, and things of that nature. And, again, you just have to, have discernment, right? And it'll come to you. And if you're the one, if there's nobody else around you, you just be the one,
Mhm.
Because there can only be one. Yeah, that's serious.
It's love.
That's serious. It's like, you want to be around people that are just like you. You clones that are you. We're the same. There's no difference. And the interesting thing that Cujo had mentioned when he were talking about your real self or whatever, and I was sitting here and I'm like, man, I just had a eureka moment. And I'm like, I'm looking at myself in the mirror right here. And I'm like, that ain't really me. There's a likeness of me, or what but that ain't me. That's not me. And look, I'm just in this body. I don't look like this for real. I'm a ball of light. Just in the suit. I'm in a meat suit.
Yeah.
If y'all remember that movie, I'm a ball of light. I'm just in this meat suit. I'm the avatar of this body.
Yep.
I'm puppeting it. But I ain't Pinocchio.
And not Pinocchio.
I'm Pinocchio. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're a good one.
The body is a vessel.
Yeah.
Anything can host it. You need to be in there.
Exactly.
You need to be the pilot.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As she said, who puppeteering you?
Yeah.
Who puppet? What spirit is on you today? And I'm pretty sure all of us have had that experience with mama or grandmama or some elder in the family when you were a child. You leave out the house one way, and you come in the house another way, and you ain't saying nothing to nobody. But grandma, somebody there, what have you done? Yeah, that. It's like, the next thing you know, you got to knock at the door. Your son just busted my window playing with that ball. That's funny. I digress.
It's love, boy. It's love. We're at three right now. We got the spot till 4, so we probably got a 15-20 minutes left, and then close out and just have some easy time, just some chill time, and some finish up whatever food's back there, whatever fruits back there time. So if you have any questions, we'll address some of those. I just want to read a couple more things out this book and close out with the words of the prophet. This is chapter 21, Nation Within a Nation. And these are, there's a few quotes. Kenneth B. Clark. The dark ghetto's invisible walls have been erected by the European society, by those who have power, both to confine those who have no power and to perpetrate their powerlessness. The dark ghettos are social, political, educational, and above all, economic colonies. Their inhabitants are subject peoples, victims of the greed, cruelty, insensitivity, guilt, and fear of their masters. Douglas Massey, and Nancy Denton. Black segregation is not comparable to the limited and transient segregation experienced by other racial and ethnic groups, now or in the past. No group in the history of the U.S. has ever sustained the high level of residential segregation that has been imposed on so-called blacks in large American cities for the past 50 years. This imposed on so-called blacks in large American cities, this extreme racial isolation did not just happen. It was manufactured by Europeans through a series of self-conscious actions and purposeful institutional arrangements that continue today. Not only is the depth of so-called black segregation unprecedented and utterly unique compared with any other groups, but it shows little sign of change with the passage of time or improvements in socioeconomic status. The Kerner reports, the so-called United States is moving toward two societies, one so-called black, one so-called white, separate and equal. To continue present policies is to make permanent the division of our country into two societies, one largely so-called Negro and poor, located in the central cities, the other predominantly European and affluent, located in the suburbs. And then you already see that change over already, that the Negro and the poor, they're pretty much Europeans in there now, other nations in there now that came here and just didn't make it. And then the predominantly white, affluent suburbs, they ain't just them up there anymore either. You know, they're even getting pushed out of the, we're pure and we're right and all that stuff. They can't even just claim that now. Other people claiming it too. The African American community, separate and unequal. The quote unquote African American community is a de facto nation within a nation. The failure of the African American community, along with its cadre of activists, leadership, establishment, and intelligentsia, to recognize the community as constituting a nation within a nation and to operate as such, is the primary overreaching reason for the relative powerlessness of so-called Africans in America and Africans in the world. It is due rather to its lack of efficient organization, coordinated development, and application under the influence and guidance of a deep and abiding sense of peoplehood and nationhood, of national purpose and destiny. The so-called African American community is a house divided against itself. The so-called African American community's nakedness before its enemies is due to its failure of vision and will clothe itself and shield its loins with the armor of nationhood. Only way to make it. And that's Blueprint for Black Power, Amos Wilson. So we'll just close out with the Moorish literature, Savior of Humanity. In this electrified age, men are racing into this life without complete knowledge of where they are going or what the end will be. When riches seem to be their only pursuit, to be obtained anyway and at any cost. When selfishness, avarice, greed, and lust dominate their very being. When humanity in general is left at the mercy of those who have no mercy in them. It is truly wonderful and astounding to see one come into this mad human drama for the sole purpose of saving humanity, losing all sight on things worldly and yielding absolutely to a cause higher than has ever been attained. This picture is the likeness of Noble Drew Ali, who is serving humanity, coming as he does with a message for the nations in somewhat the same manner as did Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and other prophets of their day. Only the things of this prophet's day differ from the ills of the day of the past, and yet the remedy for the ills of today is about the same as the remedies for the days past, all turning about the pivot love for humanity. Humanity must be lifted from the unwholesome depths of poverty, misery, and suffering and placed on the solid rock of salvation. There are some who claim to do this, but upon investigation, one finds that they have slouched under the wings of their cross to extract from those who come to them means by which they can have the pleasures of this life while they point their followers to the joy after death. While they feed their sheep, they also shear them while eating. At the close of their day, the master will be heard to tell them, "You have your reward, get thee hence." Rare is it that you find a real prophet whose mission is the salvation of the nations. The land is full of false prophets whose mission is to fleece the people. The time was and now is that there should come into the land a prophet in the likeness of his brothers to redeem them from sin and slavery. Truly, this prophet is Noble Juali, is the man, bringing with him the message of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. This alone can save the nations. Like the coming of Jesus, he does not come from the elect, nor the rich, nor the mighty in worldly power, but all power is given unto him to do good. This power is from Allah. It will be his works that will make men of every nation accept the truth that he brings. It will be through his teachings, and the nations of the earth will understand the will of the master. It will be through him that peace on earth and goodwill to all men shall come. It will be through his works that humanity will be brought from the slime of life and placed on the solid rock of salvation. Islam. Any more questions? Any more questions or comments before we close out? If you have any emotional outbursts, you could let those out too. Chestnut checkers. Brother Amir, you have any closing remarks? And of course, Mother Karbisha, I know y'all made it happen, so we're out here. Made it happen.
I just wanted to thank y'all for coming through.
Yep.
We got a lot going on, but yeah, I'm glad y'all came this high. And I do look forward to continuing meeting with Moors that are local as well, and really just doing this as well too with Brother Cujo.
Yeah, Islam.
Yeah, and I hope to see y'all again soon.
Yeah, well, one of the notes that we'll take from the other ones too is we'll get a paper passed around so everybody could get their contacts on there, and then we'll just go out, make copies of it. I think they should have a photocopier. Just make copies of it so everybody has everybody's contact. That seemed to work. The last few sessions. That seemed to work with getting the Moors to start in the process of what you're saying, getting meeting again, because there's we know that we're gonna get high turnover in this because of that thing with it not being completely established like that. So people are looking for things that really aren't there, and once they don't see things, then they think nothing's going on or whatever. But there's always an element of Moors who stick around for the long haul, So it even if it seems like well, oh yeah, we got this list, 50 names on it, and then the next meeting we call, and then 5 people are there. We're gonna go with those 5. We're going to ride it till the wheels fall off with those 5, and everybody else could get on board when they're ready. So we'll ask again, any more questions? Any questions or comments before we close out?
Just seeing the Moors today got me over here thinking about making Mecca.
Yeah, that's the next stop. Next stop is Chicago. Chicago's the next stop. 2 weeks. We're gonna be in Chicago 26, 27. Yeah, of July. Yeah, 2 weeks. So so we'll be out there from the 25th to the 28th, and then we have an event on the 26th, and then the 27th we have Chicago architectural tour or something, like some bus tour. Yeah. Islam Moors, give thanks. Appreciate everybody being here. This leg of the tour was another good one. Nothing's been bad so far. Everything's been right on point. So honors to you for being here. We'll just close out, and I'm not sure what's going on with the chairs. I guess we'll find out if we have to. I think the tables we probably got to break down. The chairs, I'm not sure, because chairs were like this when we came in. Yeah, the chairs were here already, so I don't know. They might want us to leave it. Maybe somebody's after us or whatever. And then also we want to get our picture at the end. So we'll probably get it. We'll probably get it up here. And yeah, that's it. We'll just close out. Islam. Wait, honors to all the Moors in the chat too. We got 40s, 30 or 40 on there. Islam Moors, 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, Father of the universe. Father of love. Truth. Peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through our holy prophet, Noble Juali. Islam
Going on, bro? Nice to meet you, man. Good. You know what? We gonna call you a few times. Feel like I'm a town boy. I see the from here. Okay,
We're just gonna set up for this picture in a second.
You want to take
Oh.
Finally get to see the face.
How you feel to get more info out of them?
That sounds bad when you take some stuff with you.
Oh, yeah. Feel free, let's nothing's going home. Nothing's going home.
You got those?
No. This more just gave me this to autograph for a bit. Run it far. Yeah. Somebody get hooked on? Oh, yeah.
One, two, three. Show me your teeth again. 1, 2, 3. I got it.
I need some of that love too,
Yeah.
Some of that love too. And I'm buying 2 more of your books, man.
Thanks, bro.
I want to sign too.
Are you going to clear this area?
No, I was just moving this back so we can get behind.
Brother.
Call the table around this
Huh?
way.
Yeah, we're probably moving that way. Everyone's looking at themselves.
Oh, drop it. J-A-B-N. I stuck it out on. Put it up.
All right, go ahead and get your bag. It's just there. Okay. Hey, I'm not directly in front of the flag. So,
Oh, we gotta do it.
all right, 1, 2, 3. All right. We got a couple of Oh, are these your shirts? These your shirts?
Hey, I'm here. That's Elder's sister. Huh?
Okay. Yeah, like this is my first practice.
This one cold. My last one was cold.
I forgot to take this thing off.
Peace, boys.
That's crazy.
Yeah, got the color.
Brother got my other one. I said, yeah.
Oh, bro, well, this one I had already.
Okay, I'm
Yeah, man. I said, girl, she gonna be down here. I gotta let him fly, man.
The other book that you wrote, the rock card, position you down there. I can share that.
Or you might have to.
How much is it? Cash out.
You can set it up. We were out the cash out. You can have cash out.
Middle.
Yes, sir.
Finally got a face to the name.
Oh, okay, man. That's decent.
Yeah. I've been meaning to call y'all.
It's all good, bro.
Ain't you down here, right? Yeah, I'm gonna have to definitely get up. Yes, sir. I'm over there in Covington there.
Actually, I got to slap you.
Okay, yeah.
Still one.
Yeah, man, I'm over there with the pop. I moved up there. They got him. Trying to do something with him.
I've been here.
Yeah. I might already have your number, bro. I don't never change my number, so it's the same.
What's up, boys? What y'all saying? Yeah, group pick coming soon, don't worry.
9902.
Gotta move around.
Yeah, man, I got one too. I done broke mine, so I work, so it's too dirty for your house.
Listen, I'm always gonna take it out. I want to get the picture.
Good picture, right.
Scratched it up so much. Yeah.
Appreciate that, brother. Did it come through?
I think I got yours, brother. I still don't know. Wisconsin area code. 414-388.
Oh, I just text you, right? Yeah, I just text you. Oh yeah, and I need to cash out. Okay.
Excuse me, everybody. I want to let y'all know that my child is an artist and she has some drawings back there.
Okay.
So she said the first person back there gets the first one for free and the other ones are $5.
I was the first one in town.
Steve. Yo, what you said? Hold on.
I don't know what it look like.
Huh?
What the picture look like? Who's on the side?
I see Navi's wearing no more pictures.
Yeah, I wanted to.
This way it is.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh,
You just
what's
want-
that?
Keep my man sound clear.
I
I'm
wanted
just
to
like-
argue, but he just asked you, so that was the paper that everybody.
Yeah, but hold on one
So
second.
we still numbers?
Yes.
No, not you.
Yeah.
333 on the clock, Morris.
Huh?
I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are you guys selling the t-shirts?
No. Yeah. He got them done to bring for me to have. Huh?
It's
How the fuck did he get the image?
Say it again. Say it again.
How the fuck did it was depicted because he asked me to make it when he got back. Fucked up.
No, the thing's tripping out, bro. It's messed up because what?
The image of it before, and I told him no because I have plans for it, and he went behind my back and he printed it out. That's fucked up what he did.
It was not. It's not sales though. It's not selling them.
Still, I told him no.
Well, actually, he said he was gonna do it in a couple months.
I told him no, and he still fucking did that shit. That's fucking foul. That's some foul shit.
I told y'all.
But it's still okay, everybody numbers. Is this it?
He doesn't have permission to print that shit out or give that shit away. That's my freaking intellectual property.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take. Yeah. No worries. All right.
Because I told him no.
He didn't say me.
Yeah.
Ma, you can put your number?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With nature, I made plans with all the
Yeah.
if they see nature out, they're gonna want money for it.
Okay. All right.
Fuck that shit. That's fucking foul.
No, you'll be straight. Don't worry. You'll be straight. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of strip it off. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
No,
all right.
yes.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. All right. Peace. Say it again.
Take a picture real quick.
Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Let's try it again.
Okay.
You got it ready?
What's going on?
All right. Let's get one more. Let's get one more right here.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah.
We're gonna do it one more time. One more time.
Before you go,
Yeah, one more time, brother.
It's not writing on here.
Hold on a second.
One, two, three.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're just gonna get the picture with in front of the flag, women in the front, children in the front, and men in the back.
You said children in the front?
Yeah, children and women in the front. You guys can the chairs if you want. Chairs if you want.
Everyone. You would have height now.
Let me take y'all picture.
All right, come on. We're all photogenic here.
It's not a recording.
Can I take the picture?
You want to type there?
Hey, one more. Hey, the beer, take the picture so I can put everybody back in. Hello, brother. Everybody back in.
I need one of them. Hey, bro.
Come on here. Come on around. All right.
I'm just snapping them.
Yeah, it's
All right.
Can't tell when it's
You want the words, man?
Hey, man, you take us out.
Copy this.
Islam Moors, all the Moors, give thanks.
Yeah, I know the job you got to think about.